Hey mi gente, ¿qué tal? ¿Cómo estás? How you doing? ¿Todo bien? All good? What's happening? Joe Giampatone here, inside iHeart Manta Studios, with my partner, co-host, or he's the host and I'm the co-host, whichever floats your boat, Marcos Chiluisa. Today we're here with episode 5 of the Expat Life in Ecuador with none other than George Carasiti, a good friend of ours and a member of the community who has been here for a shorter while than most, yet has made a bit of an impact in his short time here. I'm going to get right into it, and I'm going to start off by saying, welcome, George. First of all, happy Thanksgiving.
Yes, happy Thanksgiving to you.
Thank you for joining us.
Yes. Good to be here.
Why don't you tell us a little bit about what brought you to Ecuador in the first place? Because I know that you were you had the plan to retire outside of the United States for quite some time. That you did a little stint in Thailand.
Correct.
But you ended up finding your way to Ecuador. Tell us a little bit about that.
Well, as you said, I've been researching living outside the U.S. for easily 20 years to retire here, and I chose actually Thailand first because I had been there on business in the 90s and fell in love with the country, the people, the food. Very inexpensive to live there. I couldn't take the heat. I mean, there were days that were 100 degrees and 100% humidity, and there's just, after a while I said, I can't do this anymore. So I went back to the U.S., traveled around for about 5 years, trying to decide where, and more Ecuador was showing up as in the top 5. Some years it was number 1 for 3 or 4 years. And I'm talking about an index that a magazine called International Living used to have every year, and they would rate the countries based on all kinds of categories between medical and economy, safety, all kinds of ratings. They probably had 20 different categories, and then they would rank them, and they could qualify it and say, this is the number 1, this is the number 2, and so on. And Ecuador was number 1 for about 3 or 4 years in a row, and it continued to be in the top 5 for the longest time.
Okay.
So that made the light bulb go off for me. So I started to research Ecuador, found some things I thought were amazing. Number 1, it's on the U.S. dollar.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, anybody that comes here, think about wherever you go, you're going to be spending a lot of money in exchange rates.
Yep.
Anytime you use the ATM, anytime you have wired money, it's the U.S. dollar is their currency. It's wonderful. The other thing that I found wonderful was that their electricity is 110. Most countries in the world outside the U.S. are 220.
Yep.
So again, you can bring your small appliances and not even worry about it. You
don't need the adapter.
I brought my dustbuster. It's great. So
it's the little
things. You'd be surprised. It's the little stuff. And the medical here is wonderful. Medical and dental here is top notch. That was one of the things that brought me to Thailand. Is the medical was top notch. So many of the doctors and dentists in Thailand went to school in the U.S. Same thing here. Yep. A lot of Ecuadorians, physicians and dentists have gone to the U.S. Top notch. Some cleaner than our dentist office.
I can attest to that.
Yeah, it's amazing. So I came down. Once I said, okay, I think it's going to be Ecuador. I went to Quito last January for an exploratory trip just to see. I'm a city guy. I lived in New York City, in Manhattan, for 15 years, and I thought I wanted a city. And I loved Quito. I fell in love with Quito. I loved the La Carolina area. It's like Central Park, New York.
Yeah, for sure. 100%.
So I thought, okay, condo along there. I couldn't afford it in Manhattan, so I'll get it here.
What did the rent run overlooking the Carolina Park in Quito?
Oh, you can get a 1-bedroom for $1,000 a month.
Yeah.
Whereas a 1-bedroom in New York City, overlooking the park, what would it be, Joy? I have 20,000. Yeah, a month. A month.
And they would run a background check.
Yeah, exactly.
3-year lease.
Yeah. So, that's the other thing about moving outside of the U.S. as a retiree. You're on limited income. Yeah, you might have some investments, but you need that as income as well. You can live like a king down here.
Yeah.
Whereas in the States, yes, I could retire, but I'd be watching. I wouldn't be able to have the vacations. I wouldn't be able to have, so that makes a big difference,
It's almost like as a retiree, you want to have a stress-free existence, and that's
not worried. You have steady income. And, I was lucky. I had my Social Security, but I also have 3 pensions from 3 small pensions, but from 3 companies that I had worked for that had the old-fashioned pensions where you have it for life when it's over. So that, was a no-brainer in terms of being able to live outside the U.S. and have income.
Okay.
So.
So when did you officially decide Manta was your destination?
Oh, that's an interesting story because to anybody watching this, if you're thinking about it, go on to the Facebook pages for the countries. There's an Ecuador expat page, and there's a Manta, where we are now, page, and start asking questions. I would just post a question, So I posted on the Ecuador one that I was interested in Quito because I'm a city person, and is there anything anybody else recommends? Well, the gentleman who is very influential here, Mark Bradbury, answered me. I never met him. He answered me and said, try Manta. It's both a city and a beach. That piqued my interest because with my job, I lived in Rio de Janeiro on the beach. And to have a city and a beach is amazing. So I came down here on an exploratory in this past year and fell in love. 48 hours, I'd already decided, okay, Manta.
Wow.
Okay.
Yeah. In fact, I think I was living in your building. My exploratory, right on the beach. I said, that's it, I'm here.
Good, perfect. That's amazing. And George, how do you feel now that you are living full-time in Ecuador? Because in terms of community, we always like to go where you feel like you belong to a place.
Yeah.
So in terms of community, how do you feel Ecuador is for you?
You have to understand me, so I'm a little different than a lot of people just based on the amount of countries I've lived in my life. So I can sort of fit in anywhere.
Chameleon?
Yeah, I once had my boss in Rio once said, I've never met a gringo like you that can just assimilate into a culture.
Cool.
Nice.
But that's if you're going to come down, if you're going to go live in another country, don't expect it to be the same as the U.S.
Right.
It's not.
Right.
It's not.
What's the purpose of
Thank you.
leaving in the first
Thank
place?
you. Yeah, understand that culture's got to be different. That we all joke, the expats all joke about Ecuador time. Well, it's not just Ecuador. Mexico, Euro, there's always that kind of time. They do things on their own time. Mañana does not mean tomorrow. It means somewhere in the future. So
It
basically,
doesn't necessarily mean tomorrow.
I'm slowly learning Spanish, which is wonderful, but there's one of my favorite words, tranquilo. It just means, for us it's tranquil, but it's this generic, relax.
Yeah.
Be cool.
Yeah.
And you're retired, so be cool. Why?
Absolutely.
Why, get stressed out over the little stuff? So I came down here and with my dog, by the way. And
your appliances?
Nope, small ones, dustbuster. Kept the big appliances home. Sold all that stuff. I don't own anything in the U.S. anymore. I sold all my property there.
Cool.
And I won't buy here. No offense, Joe.
What?
I won't buy a home in Ecuador.
I don't think
I
that's
probably
at all.
never own a home again in my life. I want to be able to pick up and go. Basically, whatever country will take my dog, I'll go.
Good.
That's if I don't. Right now I'm going to die here.
He
so
says
we'll
no offense, Joe.
Yeah, real estate.
Yeah.
But my advice to anybody coming down here is come down here to retire, but don't sit home. There is so much to do in a country like this.
That's huge.
I got involved very quickly in a foundation called You and Us for Menta's Children. And I've gotten so busy from them. It's wonderful. And it's good. I mean...
Tell us a little about what you've been doing with them.
First of all, they focus on health and education of the children of Manta.
Okay.
And it's all expats.
Yep.
We're looking for something to do.
Yep.
So why not do this? Why not give back? And I made the mistake of making a donation, and boom, they called me right away. The first call was, "Would you like to teach English?" And I thought, "Oh, interesting. I'm not a teacher. Never was. Well, I did some industrial training, but I was never a teacher." And I said, "Yeah, tell me more about it." So right now, I'm teaching first, second, and third graders in a poor neighborhood school here, and loving every minute of it. There's all kinds of things like that to do. You and Us for Manta's Children has helped sponsor a library for kids. We teach in 2 different schools, and we also are involved in health issues. Like we've pretty much adopted a set of twins as I wouldn't call it mascots, the wrong word. They have health issues because they were born very prematurely, so we're helping the mother, financially with formula, diapers, and that's
Through
just
donations that you guys are out there generating via different sorts of
we
events.
do various fundraisers. We have 4th of July party. We just had our major fundraiser of the year, the Manta Art Fair, which is really, I was quite impressed with the quality of the art.
Yeah.
They have not only art as in painting, but then they have all kinds of jewelry and craft art and pottery art.
Sculpture.
Then they had a whole row of nothing but artisan foods. I spent a fortune on the food alone. I'm still eating it. It's wonderful. And that raised a lot of money for us.
And these artists and artisans came from all over the country?
All over the country. A few from actually outside that are expats, but living here, meaning one artist, a woman who lives in France, but an expat here. Excuse me. But
there was
majority
one artist you were telling us off camera that's been living here in Ecuador for
45 years. She's either American or Canadian, I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
But 45 years she's living in Ecuador. She's an artist. And she was telling me about, when she first got here, there weren't even roads most places.
Right.
I can't imagine 45 years here, what it was
beach
like.
Town after beach town.
Yeah, along the coast, it was, probably no major city outside of Guayaquil. But, so anyway, again, I am enjoying it immensely. I'm only here 6 months. My dog is enjoying it immensely. I have more space for him here than I could have ever had back home.
Huge.
He's got a backyard he can run in, and I'm on the beach. So,
Tell us a little bit about, we've spoken about all the pluses and all the positives. Why don't you tell us a little bit about, because we know, one of the reasons we started this podcast was to give expats who live here a platform to tell their story, because we were noticing that there's negative anywhere you go in the world.
Sure.
And we were noticing that a lot of the press up north, and Marcos being a visa lawyer and a real estate lawyer, and yes, you alluded to it earlier, me being in the real estate game here, we happen to be on the phones and communicating with a lot of people who are considering Ecuador, but haven't quite made the jump yet. And we were getting a lot of in a very short period of time, in the past month or 2 or 3, started hearing a lot about these news articles that were coming out up north about certain negative issues about the country, and it's giving people reason to maybe postpone or hesitate on their investment or their move or their exploratory
making
trip.
a decision about Ecuador, basically.
Talk to us a little bit about your experience with, for example, there's been a lot of talk about crime in Ecuador.
Sure.
Tell us your experience about with your firsthand experience with as an expat living here.
Unfortunately, one of the reasons, or fortunately, one of the reasons Ecuador was so high on the list for expats for so many years was the lack of crime.
Yeah.
It's a very peaceful country, very peaceful people.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, I don't know why it happened, but the drug traffic decided to make Ecuador its highway. And with drugs comes crime.
Yeah.
And my opinion is we as Americans can't say a word. We are the biggest user of the product.
Yeah.
So, so somewhere the highway dried up or couldn't do that before, and now it's coming through Ecuador as a highway, both from the sea and land, I think. Although, just read that the U.S. is sending 6 ships to help with this.
Really?
6 frigates or whatever that are going to be doing the coast.
Interesante.
Yes, exactly. Because we were here before with bases, and I think that was one of the reasons the highway was not here.
Yeah.
But anyway, crime is on the rise. I'd rather be honest. There's been shootings here, although I can honestly say no school has been shot up like the U.S. That's one of the reasons I left. I was getting tired of the gun laws there. Don't mean to, insult anybody.
Right.
To me, it was out of control. Here,
You were getting tired of the gun laws, you said?
in the U.S.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, the fact that we're not trying to do something so that kids are safe in our schools
Right.
in the U.S. That's just nuts.
It's an issue.
So here you'll never see that. That's not crime that will exist in it. Yes, you're going to have drug deals gone wrong, and you're going to have crime, and you may have a shooting based on that one small incident.
Yeah.
But in terms of, yes, just like New York City, you'd be robbed on the street.
Yeah, of course.
Anywhere.
Yeah.
Anywhere in a big city that I have been in, you can be robbed on the street. I took a picture, I was standing taking a picture in Tunis, in Tunisia once, just taking a picture, and out of the corner of my eye, I saw a kid come running, going, "What's here?" And they grabbed my phone right out of my hand, kept running.
I've heard stuff like that. I've never actually.
It's all over
It
the world.
happens.
It happens everywhere.
Yeah, of course.
And then I actually was able to grab him, and then I realized, you know what? I don't know whether he's got a knife on him, what he's got on him, and then I went, you know what? It's his dinner. It's his family's monthly income.
Look at
Who
that.
knows?
Split-second decision.
Oh, it was absolutely. It was like, go.
Good one.
It was a cheap phone.
It was an expensive one.
Yeah, I would have hold. Yeah, I would have dragged him. He was about this big.
And George, in terms of culture, how do you? I mean, you talk about it a little bit about mañana and tranquilo, but you're wearing the Ecuadorian
That's right.
soccer T-shirt, so
Mhm. Came
it's just
fresh
like
for the part.
that's the skin of the country. People call it here like la piel del Ecuador. So, how do you feel welcome about Ecuadorians? How is that for you?
Ecuadorians are wonderful. I said before, they're peaceful people, very friendly people. Everybody says hello. In New York City, you didn't say hello to your relatives on the street.
So true.
It's so true, right?
So true.
You walk like this. Oh, I
my God.
don't know you.
Doorbell,
I don't know you.
get
Yeah,
under the couch.
yeah, I don't know you. Here, everybody says hello. The culture here, mañana is just, it's funny because that's in so many countries in the world. It's not just here. Don't come down here and think things are going to be done fast.
Right.
They're not.
Right.
Relax. You're retired. And
The instant gratification, need for instant gratification is something that you need to sort of
forget.
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 Put it behind.
Yeah. It's a culture that is very proud. Food is wonderful and cheap.
Mm-hmm.
My gosh, you can have lunch, they call it almuerzo, for $3.50, which is like 4 courses.
Right.
Including your
dessert,
drink.
You get your
Including your
drink,
drink, yeah.
Salad,
it's amazing.
protein,
yeah, it's
rice
amazing.
and beans.
And yes, and there are high-end restaurants, so you've got everything.
Yeah.
From the local to the high-end. Some of the best Italian food I've had outside of Italy has been here in Ecuador.
Interesting.
Don't tell the Peruvians, but the best ceviche in the world is in Ecuador.
Yeah, I agree.
Am I right? Don't tell the Peruvians.
So
They think they invented
this
it.
episode is not going to be aired in Peru.
Yeah, exactly.
There happens to be, shameless plug here, because they are a client, but I am biased. But at the same time, they are the only Peruvian restaurant in this area.
Yeah.
Taku Taku?
Oh, that's Peruvian. Didn't know.
Right. Well, that's
try it.
information I got to deliver to him.
But I will, in defense of the Peruvians, the best chefs in South America are Peruvian.
Let me tell you something.
They're all over South America.
These guys are
They're top-notch chefs.
unbelievable chefs.
Yeah.
Their food is so consistently amazing.
Mm-hmm.
Prices are moderate at best. They're very, very fair.
Yeah.
And they have like a mix, right? It's like a fusion because they're both Ecuadorian.
Yeah.
But they studied and they are very serious about their craft.
Good. I have to try it.
Really
I haven't
good,
been.
really
haven't
good
been.
Peruvian food.
Excellent.
Highly recommend.
Go.
The ceviche is good. However, the Ecuadorian ceviches blow the Peruvian ceviches out of the water as far as I'm concerned.
I agree.
I
I told you.
I'm
On my exploratory taxi driver, I said I want to try good ceviche.
Yeah.
I've heard about it. So he took me to a restaurant. I give it a plug, but I don't remember the name. And I tasted and went, oh my god! I kept eating it. Okay, don't tell the Peruvians. I said the same thing that day.
Yeah.
It's a better ceviche than they have.
Yeah.
Oh, and by the way, you have ceviche for lunch,
Oh yeah.
not for dinner.
No.
Oh yeah.
It's
Yeah,
fresh.
They
It's
close
fresh.
they close at 4 o'clock.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, everyone
some
knows that.
Restaurants close at
Well,
4 o'clock.
Yeah. Well, good.
Gringos don't know that.
Yeah.
No, I've tried.
They'll have it for
once.
dinner.
Got it for dinner.
Yeah.
Can't do
Okay.
it.
Yeah.
Can't do it.
It's
Or
for lunch.
like,
Or
what's up with
encebollado.
Encebollado,
You don't do that. So that's my next question about the culinary here in Ecuador. How do you feel? Like how is that? because you're coming from New York,
Sure.
right? So
Yeah.
that's the world
You get
capital.
Bangladeshi restaurants
Yeah,
in New
you
York.
can find
yeah.
anything.
Right.
But how is the Ecuadorian food for you?
Very good.
Yeah.
I mean, local cuisine is excellent.
Yeah.
Excellent. It's just different. If you're a fan of plátano, it's everywhere. Plantains.
Yes.
It's served in a lot of different things. I happen to love it.
Yeah.
You can serve it to me almost any way.
Yeah.
But there's also, as I said, the high end. There's Ecuadorian high end, as well as French and Italian and Indian. There's one Indian restaurant here that is very
Very
good. You know what we don't have? Thai.
Thai.
I was gonna say.
Somebody come down,
Yeah.
open a Thai restaurant,
Come
please.
on. Actually, okay, the realtor. I'm not gonna do it.
Uh,
$45,000, a full restaurant. All the Capitolito House reopened a branch in Quito, and they're selling everything because they traveling between Manta and Quito, they just can't do it. Two owners, so they're liquidating, and so we have a restaurant, turnkey,
There is an opportunity there.
major opportunity because
Okay.
they bought everything for like she said upwards of 65K, and they're selling it for 45. So
Oh,
definitely
that's amazing.
hit me up.
Of course, that's a need. Vietnamese food,
Thai food.
Thai
I
food.
mean, you have Maito, which is sort of Pan-Asian
Yeah,
kind of
yeah.
stuff,
Where is
but it's
that?
not.
Maido,
In,
Maido.
Oh yeah. Okay.
Not Maido?
Maido.
Maido, excuse
Yeah.
me. It's in La Quadra.
Yeah, yeah.
It's very good. Very
Okay.
good. Sushi. I'm a
Yeah.
sushi crit. Yeah.
Have you done in the mall? What's the one in the mall?
No.
Kobe?
No. Oh, I've done it. Not a
Okay.
fan.
No?
Not a fan, no. For anybody that's a pizza person, you can get all kinds and good pizza
Yeah,
here.
yeah.
Really
Wide
good
range,
pizza here.
wide range.
The place downstairs, Capetti, a pulpo and pesto pizza that is to die for. It is just
You're
amazing.
not gonna find anything. And
You're not gonna
thin
find that.
crust, crunchy.
Yeah. So there's all kinds of food here. Again, we're missing a couple
Yeah.
of things, but they'll come. They'll come.
All kinds, but what about the quality?
Oh, quality
Because
is excellent.
I mean, here in Ecuador is not that much of. We don't use that much pesticides or
Yeah, sure.
or massive agricultural techniques. So in Ecuador, it's just like in small scale.
My favorite thing here is getting a papaya for $1.
Yeah, it's very
This
good.
size,
Yeah, yeah.
they're $10. Sometimes in Manhattan, 12, 14.
Or avocados. How much are avocados?
No, avocados are pennies. Yeah. Watermelon,
You can get it.
$1.50.
Yeah, yeah.
A pineapple in season, $1.
Right.
$1.25 off season.
Dragon fruit.
Oh, passion fruit's my thing
Yeah,
here.
right.
Oh, love it.
Okay.
So yeah, you don't necessarily have to go to the big supermarket. By the way, that's the other thing. Supermarket here, Mega Maxi, it's called. Amazing. It's got everything you want. Now, if you want all the brands from the U.S., you're going to pay for it. They're expensive because it's coming in from the U.S. But they're the same. Next to Hellman's mayonnaise is the local mayonnaise, and it tastes the same.
Right.
So, get used to local brands, and you're going to save a lot of money. But then you go to an area like Tarqui. Oh my gosh! I mean, there.
Which
you
is
can-
only about 10 minutes from where we're sitting right now.
yeah,
5
yeah.
minutes.
It's one of the largest outdoor malls I've ever seen in my
Yeah.
life. There's just everything. You can buy anything and everything you want there. I get all my meats there. There's like 3 different butchers there that I get my meats from. I make my dog's food. So
Do you ever go to the fish market?
oh, many times. That's
Yeah.
fun.
Yeah.
I'll be going there actually on Sunday.
Cool.
I have guests coming for dinner, so
That's an experience.
yeah.
You
Oh,
take them
oh.
or you go by yourself?
Oh, no, I've taken guests there as
Yeah.
well as I've gone myself.
Crazy.
I had Dorado the other day that was just out of this world.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Everybody, if you come, you got to go down to the fish market.
Yeah.
You got to go in the morning, early, 8 o'clock,
Yeah.
latest, and you get amazing shrimp, but $4 a pound,
Yeah.
something like that.
Tuna.
And they clean it for you.
Yep. Clean
Yeah,
it.
they
They clean it for you.
Clams, they shuck them for you.
Yeah.
They prepare everything.
The
if
sea
you want
bass
to.
or the Dorado, amazing.
They'll even chop it up for you and prepare it so that you can go literally right next to.
Oh yeah, they
and
do
they'll-
that.
they'll cook it up
Yeah,
for you.
you can
They'll
go
make your
across
steaks
and they'll
right
cook
there.
it for you. Yeah,
Right.
yeah. No, it's amazing. The fish market is, I have friends coming actually in on a cruise.
Okay.
They happen to be coming from Florida through the canal and down to Santiago, and
Oh,
said,
fun.
"You live in Manta now, right?" I said, "Yeah."
Yes.
We're stopping there. I said, "Fine,
So
I'll meet you at
cool.
the terminal."
Awesome.
I'll meet you at the terminal. On the way back, we'll stop at the fish market just so I can show it to them.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's great.
That's really good.
That's great.
And what about my next question is for you, George. Now, we're going to edit this part. Okay. Okay, George. My next question for you is regarding the language. So you're learning Spanish right now. But how is that process for you? I mean, do you have a second language, Italian? Or?
No, I do not.
Okay.
I do not. My father spoke Italian. My mother spoke her tongue, which was Slavic, but we never learned because it was two different tongues. That's a challenge. That is a challenge here. There is not a lot of English spoken here. In an educated class of people, yes. But when you get into the workers and you get into the restaurant people, there isn't a lot of English spoken. So you're in another culture, learn the language. You know, I'm trying. I'm doing pretty well. I can put 3 words together now.
There you go.
Oh,
That's one more than you was able to put together last week.
Yeah, and make a sentence. So I can put 3 words and get a sentence. I'm getting by, and it's fun. Oh, and Google Translate. I mean, my taxi driver, I have my own driver, and most people, if you come here, you will get comfortable with the driver if you don't have a car, and that's what you use. And and that's the other thing. It's $3-4 for a taxi ride anywhere. Right. I think you can't even get into a taxi in Manhattan for $5 now. You know,
what?
It's they turn it on. It's at $5 or something.
Is that it?
Yeah,
Really?
yeah, it's nuts. I don't want a car. It's just not from I lived in New York, didn't have a car, so I don't need one here.
You don't need a car here.
No, you don't. There are plenty of beautiful homes here, from condos to single family homes.
For rent.
Right on rent and buy.
Yeah.
Right on the beach.
Yeah.
I have an amazing view of the ocean with a backyard. And
What's your monthly rent?
I have a big place, as I said, right on the ocean. So my rent would be considered high compared to other people. I'm paying $1,500 a month.
So you can live on the ocean.
On the ocean.
How many bedrooms?
On a duplex, 2 bedrooms, 3 bathrooms.
2 bed, 3 bath, 3 full bath, 2.5.
3 full bath.
Full baths for $1,500 a month.
And
furnished.
Oh, fully furnished.
Does that include internet?
Yes, it does.
Does that include any other utilities?
No. I pay the electric and.
What is your electric bill, more or less?
Oh, that's a good story. I'm somebody that needs air conditioning.
Okay.
So I got here in my first month. I was like, the air conditioners are running everywhere. My first electric bill was $350. I was like, okay.
For running the air all month long.
Well, it was. I did turn it off, but so many times I forgot. It was on in the bedroom all day. It shouldn't have been. So $350.
That's a lot.
That's a huge amount.
It's a lot for here.
Yeah.
For Staten Island, New York, where I'm from.
That's true.
In the middle of the summer, I would leave my AC on because my dog was home and I was at work. I would be paying $700 to $800 in a very small 2-bedroom apartment,
gosh.
1 bathroom, living by myself.
Nuts. So anyway, I've learned. I just paid my electric bill after each month coming down about $139.
Hey,
Not bad.
$139. It's
see
not
what happens?
bad.
It takes some time.
Yeah, you have to learn. You learn the process. So if you're somebody that has to have air conditioning 24/7,
Right.
you're gonna pay for it here.
Yeah, sure.
You're gonna pay
But
for it here.
you don't need it.
No, you don't.
No.
Especially
You have the breeze.
where I am. I come the afternoon, the breeze that I have gets annoying sometimes because it blows stuff away. I'm also lucky if you saw the space I have. I have I guess you'd call it a backyard. It's a huge backyard that faces the ocean along with a side yard. My dog can do zoomies from one end to the other.
Cool. Good for your dog.
And he's a large dog. That kind of space for $1,500, amazing.
No, it's unheard of. On the front
I mean,
of the ocean?
that's amazing.
On the beach?
Yeah, and Murcielago, which is, to those watching, is a high-end area of condos right on the ocean.
Yeah.
That's where I thought I'd live because that's where I stayed when I came for my exploratory trip.
Yeah.
And but I would have had just a balcony. I went, and those were going for between 12 and 15 for a 2-bedroom, 2-bath.
Sure.
The space, I have a duplex. I mean, it's great space.
Yeah.
I'd be hard pressed to leave that space. Yeah.
The reason I ask those questions is to give the audience an idea of what it would cost to live here if they were...
Here's something to note. You can live what they call second row here.
Yeah.
And the price goes down.
And the price goes in half.
Right.
And you could still have a view of the ocean and the sound of the ocean.
Right. And even the breeze.
Do you ever watch Don Shader's
Yeah, sure.
YouTube? You
Sure.
hear the ocean and you see it from his balcony.
And he's second line.
And he's paying $700 or $800 a month.
Right.
So,
Exactly.
So there's all price
The
ranges.
range is...
You can get $400 a month.
Right. I pay $450 a month, but I don't have an ocean view. But it's a big house. With it's 24-hour security. I've mentioned it in previous episodes.
That's
24-hour
great.
security. Olympic length pool for
Only
laps.
$400 a month?
$450.
Wow.
$50 a month.
Where?
3-bedroom house in Ciudad del Sol. 2 floors.
It's a nice area.
Three car driveway.
Wow.
Front patio, backyard with a built-in gazebo.
Okay, and when am I
grill.
coming over for drinks?
Come on, let's do it. Sunday.
Okay.
Let's do it. I'm serious. We do barbecues.
Do you?
The
Cool.
thing's got a built-in barbecue.
I'll bring some stuff.
I wish I used it more. Come on. We'll do a. Well, I have to now invite you,
Yes.
and then I got to put a camera so that I can show everybody that I wasn't joking.
Now, just again, for the nice thing about if you come down here, the expat community is small. It's maybe 1,000 to 1,200 people from Canada, the U.S., France, different
Yeah.
countries. But they've become tight. I mean, technically, you can go to a different expat dinner at a different restaurant every single night of the week. Sometimes two.
Yeah.
Thursdays there's
True.
two.
Yep.
Where I live, the complex I live in has an expat gathering every Thursday night at the Tiki Bar. Last week we had 17 people.
Wow.
So you become friendly with people very quickly. Join an organization like You and Us for Mantis Children. I have now made more friends from that organization that is so wonderful.
Yeah.
My first month here, I sat home with my dog, trying to figure out what am I going to do with myself. So there's lots to do, lots to see. There are other cities other than Manta.
Yeah.
You
A
can
lot
travel.
of people like Loja, Cuenca.
Best coffee.
Oh yes,
Loja,
yes,
yes.
Loja, yeah. Altitude.
Yeah.
There's a huge expat community in Cuenca.
Yeah.
That's a little too inland and non-city. It's more provincial for my taste.
Very high up too.
Yeah. Well,
Very
that's
high
I was lucky. The altitude doesn't get it.
Okay.
Quito's higher than Cuenca.
Is it? I
Yes.
Yeah,
it
200,
is.
200 meters.
Yeah.
All I know is that when I go there, it takes me a day to acclimate.
Yeah, I'm lucky. I've been at a lot higher in my life, so
Okay, yeah.
it doesn't faze me. I'm
Not
lucky.
high.
I was more worried about my dog in Quito because I asked my vet down in New York to could altitude affect the dog? He goes, oh yeah. So
Sure.
great. So, but he was fine.
I didn't know that.
By the way, for those bringing animals, that's a whole nother process.
Okay.
That's a whole nother process. I don't know if
Yes.
you have to get in the U.S. you have to get a USDA certified veterinarian. Not every vet is that, which I didn't know. I just assumed you have a license, you're that.
Okay.
It's a particular license,
Okay.
sort of the step up, whatever. So they have to fill out the paperwork and all that. Right now, unfortunately, which really annoys me, none of the U.S. carriers are taking dogs in cargo on the same plane you are. You can ship them on their cargo,
Yikes.
but they cannot go on the same plane in cargo. They'll take the little ones, which they allow only one per cabin. And there was only one airline that would, because I did not want to ship my dog.
Right.
And I got a 60-pound dog.
Yeah.
And I wanted him on the same plane. Tried to get him as a service dog, but the Department of Transportation finally put a nix on that. Everybody was trying to get their animal.
Right.
They were having service. They were having service peacocks.
No, come on.
Oh yeah. So it got out of hand. So now they've pretty much nixed that. It has to be a true service dog.
Okay.
Blind, for the deaf, for those kind of training.
Okay.
And you got to really prove that.
Right.
So don't think you're just going to get your dog here as a service dog in cabin. Even though my dog would have been one, he would have ran up to Dallas just playing with everybody. So anyway, I have to recommend somebody because outstanding, Dr. Martin Rath, based in Ecuador, in Quito.
Okay.
Based in Quito. What first of all, that's his specialty. It's getting your animals anywhere in the world, not just to Ecuador. He is a Belgian who married another veterinarian, Ecuadorian. He met her in the Galapagos.
Nice.
And they have a business in Ecuador, in Quito. I think a regular vet, she does regular vet, he does he will escort your dog somewhere. I don't know what that costs, but what he did in terms of the information he provided me, and invaluable. I don't know what I would have done without the information he gave me. And I even said to him, when I met him, because I wound up wanting to stay in Quito for a few days before coming to Manta. Gotta go back. The only one airline can get a dog that size in cargo on the same plane is Aeromexico.
Oh,
Wow.
American, United, Delta, South, all can't go.
They just don't want you leaving.
No, they're blaming COVID. They don't have the staff. The staffing is out of, most of these airlines, the staff issues are really bad
Yikes.
because they don't pay. But anyway, if you're bringing your pet, contact Dr. Rath. It costs.
I found him.
You found
Martin
Rath.
MAARTINRATHE with a little tilde.
He's on Facebook.
Yeah.
You just put his name into Facebook, and it is scary what he did not charge for the information he provided. I even told him, I said,
Someone
Doctor,
who's passionate
you
about
need
what they're
to
doing?"
raise your prices, especially for the gringos. I'm sorry. I said, so I had texted him saying, I'm going to be in Quito for a few days before. I didn't know Latam. I didn't know Avianca. I did not want to put my dog back on a plane with a sedative for a 45-minute flight.
Right.
So I had a van come to take my dog and my 8 pieces of luggage
And you
from
flew?
Quito. No, in Quito. We drove.
Yeah.
Oh, you
From
drove with
Quito.
them?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Good.
We drove together. And I got to see the country. It was
Awesome.
wonderful. That 8-hour drive,
beautiful, yes.
I enjoyed it.
Yeah.
We stopped for
Yeah.
lunch. We
Yeah.
stopped,
That's the way to do it.
And, but I said, look, I got to buy a dinner, breakfast, drink, something. You made this so much easier than I had expected. And so we met for breakfast, and I gave him, I said, I have a cage that's massive for my dog.
Yeah.
And I said, I don't intend to
Move again.
or
Yeah.
to take him, I said, would you like it? He said, well, how much would you charge? I said, no, it's yours. He was thrilled. So,
And now we'll plug him on.
yeah,
this.
no,
We'll put
again-
a link in the description of the video.
the information he gives you, and he follows up, he contacts your vet in
Yeah.
the U.S.
And he spoke English, I imagine.
Oh, yeah, he's Belgian, yeah.
Muy bien.
He speaks 4 or 5 languages,
I love
for
it.
sure.
I see his here. He's
So-
got French, or he's
Yeah.
got Spanish, he's got
Yeah, it's English.
English.
So really, and I've since recommended him to a lot of people who have raved about him as well.
Excellent.
So, bringing pets here is an issue.
Sure.
A lot of people are not going to leave their pets home.
No, of course
You know.
not.
No,
So-
they're not going to come.
Yeah,
It'll
exactly,
be over.
exactly.
They
And
can't bring
Ecuador
the
made
pet.
it easy. There's rules and things you got to have that are a little different than the U.S. I will say there was a lot of, if you're connecting on Aeromexico, there wasn't work. It was just a lot more. You had to show paperwork a lot of different places in Mexico in changing planes.
Uh-huh.
But I was able to take him out of the cage. Out of the crate in Mexico City at the
Okay,
airport.
okay.
Walk him around,
Get him
put
on
him
the-
back in
Sure.
because he had to connect, and then
And how old's the dog?
when I got here, he was only 3. He's
Oh,
4
wow.
now. Yeah. Mhm.
Very good.
Good.
So-
And that was for your dog. And what about you? Your documents? How easy or hard has been that?
Mine were very easy. I used a Visa company. Not cheap. Not cheap. You're going to pay anywhere. You get a discount if you're over 65. But it's going to cost you anywhere from $1,200 to $1,500
Yeah.
to have someone take care of your visa for you.
Yeah.
You can do it yourself, but no. There's a lot of work involved. And if you don't speak the language, you go to these local offices here, they don't speak English.
Yeah, no, you're gonna
So,
you're gonna get an accident. You're not even on purpose, but you'll get the runaround just because you missed a bullet point, you missed the
Well,
item
you
that you
didn't
bring.
dot an I and you're going to be sent home
Yeah,
and you have to
yeah.
do it again. There are companies that specialize just in that. Marcos has a company, Expat, that they specialize in visas for people to come to
Yeah.
Ecuador.
No, if you don't speak the language, if you don't have an Ecuadorian girlfriend or wife like I did,
Yeah,
who
yeah,
worked
yeah.
for the government and had connections
Perfect.
in all of the major offices here in Manta, then highly recommend going through a professional company to assist.
But in terms of other countries, what was the final decision for you to come to Ecuador?
That's a tough one. I think it was more like checklist things. When I checked off positives, and I mentioned them very early. Inexpensive living,
Yeah.
U.S. dollar, electricity's the same, good medical care. I'm not one that jumps in decisions, so it was more of a research and check off thing.
Smart.
Positives,
Right. The way to do
negatives. Yeah. My second choice is Portugal.
Okay.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
Portugal's
That's
high up
actually
on the list.
in the top 5 now.
Yeah,
And I
it's
have
very popular right now.
I have friends from the States just moved there, so at least I'll know in advance.
Did they just have the paddle world championship there, or am I thinking of another?
pickleball? You mean?
No, paddle. I think it was one of the peak countries, Panama or Portugal.
Yeah,
Big
probably,
difference.
Probably,
Big
yes.
difference.
Right?
I love Europe and anything to do with Europe, so Portugal would be high, but it's actually cheaper here. It is cheaper to live
Okay.
here. Yeah, and
Okay.
again, U.S. dollar, not the euro. I mean, euro can fluctuate.
Paraguay.
Paraguay.
Oh, not even,
Not even close.
Not even
Oh,
close.
the paddle.
The paddle
Yeah.
junior world championships.
Yeah, it was
Couple
down there.
of youngins from Manta were competing.
Really?
Yeah.
Cool. That's the other thing about Manta. I'm impressed with some of the international competitions and things they have here.
Yep.
They have the Ironman here,
Yep.
which is televised worldwide.
Yep.
Louis Fonsi was just here recently.
Yeah.
I was shocked.
What a show!
At
I was there.
the level of.
Did you go?
No,
Oh.
I'd read about it, forgot about it, and I was so angry
Oh,
that
man,
friends
we had
didn't
to
tell
go.
me. Didn't say, "Come on."
We got a
You know.
babysitter for that night.
Yeah, I can understand.
Although this
And
is
he
me
was-
assimilating into the culture, I said, babe, let's bring Amaya to
the concert.
the concert. We know there's gonna be people there with kids,
kids,
younger
sure,
than her.
sure.
She's like, no, Mama. We got there. They were literally mothers breastfeeding.
Oh, sure.
on
I'm sure.
Stools
I'm sure.
in the sand.
You're not gonna miss a
because-
free Louis Fonsi
International
concert.
superstar.
Yeah, and there were others as well, not just him.
Yeah.
Oh,
You
yeah.
know, and during Manta days, I guess it's their independence.
Yeah, it's a
it was
foundation.
a
Foundation.
massive,
Before.
sort of street festival with
Yep.
and 4 different stages, music going on. So that stuff's here all the time. If you're a football or soccer fan, which I am,
Yeah.
I know I'll get heat for this, but I prefer international football to American football.
Yeah.
They don't have to wear helmets and have 4 different teams go on and off the field.
Right.
They just stay on the field for 90 minutes. They're real men.
And they don't end up with concussions and
exactly.
brain damage at the end.
But
of the
anyway,
career.
if you come and you enjoy football, get a shirt, go to a local
Yeah.
bar. The culture you will pick up is so worth it. I have done that in many countries in my life, just to get the local culture. You're not going to understand the TV. You're not going to understand the waiter. But you'll get by and you'll have a blast. You'll have a blast. You just go watch a football game with the locals.
Highly recommend.
And
Have you
they'll-
ever been to the actual stadiums?
No. Oh, in Brazil, yes,
Okay.
in Rio, that massive one I've been to.
Okay.
But go to a local bar. They will also appreciate that you're there.
Yeah, of
Sure.
course. Yeah.
They will. You know, I was actually, I told you, at the bar down the street here, I was the only gringo there, but you could tell they appreciated I was there.
Of course.
And I even went and bought a shirt.
Absolutely, that's so true.
And there's a very strong possibility you could pass for Quiteño. Oh yeah.
What's a quiteño? I don't
Thing
know.
is from Quito.
From Quito.
Oh, really?
Yeah, as long as you don't speak.
Yeah, that's true. This gringo face?
You can
Really?
pass for it. Yeah, there's some.
Yeah, there's very white people
Yeah.
in
Oh, yeah.
Quito.
That's why I'm sort of a little afraid to go in Guayaquil with this face. But
Because you feel like you
well, the
stick out
crime
like-
issue of all the cities, that's the one that even when things were really good here in Ecuador, Guayaquil still had crime issues.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
just one of those massive cities.
Yeah.
I call it the Newark, New Jersey
I
of
totally can relate.
It's-
I
it's the
literally,
Newark,
when I
New
went to,
Jersey
I feel
of
like
Ecuador.
Newark. I feel like
Yeah.
New Jersey City
yeah, Jersey,
kind of
yeah,
situation.
yeah.
Yeah. Very New Jersey for me.
So
Interesting. All right, guys. I think
Yes.
that we've touched upon a little bit of everything
of
here.
everything, yeah.
You're invited to my house for barbecue, and the 3 of us, plus maybe the boys from the team, need to go to a football game.
Oh, I would enjoy that.
Delphine.
At the
or-
stadium.
At the stadium.
I
Yes.
would enjoy
Yeah.
that immensely.
Yeah. Let's try to set
Let's
that
do
up.
it. Let's do it.
But that'll be the to be continued. That'll be part 2 of our expat life in Ecuador with George.
Yeah, we
Carisiti.
can have a blog about it. Yeah, of course.
Yeah, you have a sequel.
Thank you, George. It's been a pleasure.
Thank you. It has been. You know me, I like to talk. Can you tell?